What's up, guys? How's it going? A little Tuesday night. Everybody hanging out. I'm a couple minutes late, as usual, kind of, but we're here. So shout out to everybody in the chat. If you haven't already, hit the like button. Appreciate it. Helps out the channel. But we're gonna get into everything. Obviously, the main topic is based off of the thumbnail. So that's the signing of the running back, the power running back. I saw some comments hopping on here. I've seen them on Twitter and everything else. But I mean, basically, it's kind of feels like it might be a Trey Sermon 2.0, but it's an interesting signing nonetheless, especially before, we got actual free agency happening in a couple weeks. So once that goes live, it's going to get crazy and hectic. But hey, you got futures contracts, people signing. So, it is what it is. But I'm curious to get y'all's thoughts, dive into it. Anything else y'all want to talk about too? This hate or criticism on Jalen Hurts and the rest of the team. What impact will it have? If it will, I'm curious too, on DeAndre Swift, on Derrick Henry, the running back room. What does it signify? So we'll see. But again, shout out to everybody listening, watching, wherever you're watching from. Let me know where you're at. OGs know. I'll try to give as many shout outs. If you're new to watching, you stumbled across the channel, I try to give as many shout outs as I can. So, let's get to it real quick. So yeah, I got lots of people here, obviously. Ernie, what's up? Rich King, Tessie, Jessica Freer, Michael H, how's it going? Laura Powell, Cool Rains, Aiden, Bruce Duncan, Oscar, what's going on, man? Football Dylan, Alex Cruz, night's been good so far, appreciate it. Philly Sports Hustle, what's up, Josh? Appreciate it. How's it going? Rich King says, seems like a Rashad Penny type signing. It's got to be better than that, right? Can't be a Rashad Penny signing. Surely not. I mean, will it amount to anything? Who knows? Who knows what? But I mean, to the extreme that Rashad Penny was, I don't know. It's really a tough argument, honestly. I would have to know in the small sample size. I mean, incredibly small sample size, which I'll throw it up here too, just in case people are not as familiar or catching up with what's going on. Let me see if I can get a graphic here too. Because Ty Davis-Price is the running back that we officially signed for the to the futures contract. So, it'll be interesting. He's got a little something, I suppose, but statistics-wise, I mean, he hasn't been incredible. You look at the preseason, regular season has not been great at all in terms of yards per carry. I think yards per carry was 2.9. Yeah, Bleeding Green Nation here says a paltry 2.9. That's a great way to describe it, but 34 carries as a rookie, 99 yards, and a paltry 2.9 average. That was in 2022, but rookie year, not great. And then 2023, 6 rushes for 21 yards, 3.5 yards a carry. Niners cut him in December, added him back to the practice squad. But how he sees at least some potential, I don't know. I mean, it's I guess a low risk, high reward. That's the type of signing that he likes to go after. So maybe there's something there. But with the lack of how much Rashad Penny played, I'm hopeful that you get something, anything out of it. I don't know. And this was the, I guess, the official report from his agency. So whenever the news first broke much earlier today, I think middle of the day, but Ty Davis-Price, 3rd round pick out of the 49ers in 2023. Well, not 2023, 3rd round, but I think that's a misquote. But signs with the Eagles, representation reports, finished the season on the 49ers practice squad, like I said. So, yeah, hopefully you get a little something out of that. His agency also said, let me see if I can find this one. His agency also said it was the most, I believe it was the biggest or the best deal that any futures player had signed. this season. But you take that for what you will. Let me see if I can get the exact quote on it. Yeah, Andrew DeCecco. I think I saw it from a couple different people, but he says, should note, per the agency, the contract was the largest of any of the 396 reserve future deals. Joins Kenny Gainwell, second-year pro Lou Nichols, as the only Eagles running backs under contract for 2024. So there so far, granted it's incredibly early, but there so far is your running back room. You got TDP, you got Kenny Gainwell, and Lou Nichols as your running back room. How are we feeling about that? And also, how are we feeling about the largest of any of the reserve future deals? I'm curious to get the guaranteed money. I think that'll be the biggest emphasis there. And was talking with Anthony DeBona earlier today too about just the differences in the wording of that. Because if it's the agency, right? Like it makes sense. You're trying to get noticed and basically say, hey, look what we did for our guy, right? We got the best or the biggest deal. But who knows what the guaranteed money is? Is it the most guaranteed money? Is it just the biggest contract? Surely not. I mean, if you're talking about biggest contract or just the total value, then Julian Okwara was, what, $2.68 million? There's no way that Howie goes out and says, oh, yeah, I've got this running back who has 40-some-odd carries in his career for like 120 yards, and I'm going to pay him the highest of what any running back on our roster currently is making right now. Like that's not going to happen. So, I don't know. It's an interesting signing. Maybe he's pairing it in terms of getting a power back, but let me get to the comments here real quick. Fanny Eagles fangirl, what's up? Dayton, Ohio. There you go. Alex Cruz in Philly right now. Ricky CG, what's up? How's it going? Names floated for wide receiver 3. Philly Sports Hustle says Mooney, Ridley, and Higgins. Yeah, definitely want to get into the wide receiver 3 comments too. Joran, what's up? Says message you on Instagram, but what's up with Julian Okwara? Yeah, we could talk about that. Sorry, I know I'm terrible about Instagram. If you guys have messaged me on Instagram, I check it some, but I don't know. The notifications or whatever, I'm terrible about it, so I apologize. Twitter is great. Like, I will usually respond much faster to that, but if it's any of the other platforms, obviously, like, YouTube's first, but if it's any of the others, Twitter's pretty good. Instagram, not so great, but try to. Dominic, what's up, man? How's it going? Bruce Duncan, love the show. Appreciate that. Ray Gerard in St. Augustine, Florida. There we go. Yes, sorry, Michael, I saw your comment. Got to it a little bit late, but yeah, the stats for his career, not a whole lot. Serenity, watching Atlanta. Does I like this signing? Okay. Curious why necessarily, but can't hate it or completely anyway right now. But yeah, the yards, Michael says 2.9 yards, so like a good signing. Yep. Although that's a good point. Ray says, can he block? I'm curious on that. I've tried to look just early, takeaways. Is he good pass blocking running back? Because Rashad Penny couldn't. So, I mean, if you want to do the argument of what's better, then if he can pass block, then he's already naturally better than Rashad Penny because he was atrocious there. So maybe. Rich King, hopefully that the new salary cap can help us get superstars or more superstars. Yeah, that's I think the report from Mike Florio was what, 250? I think because the initial speculation was like 243 million was going to be the new cap number. I think that's right, 243. But it might be supposedly more than that. So if it's 250, you got more cap space, got more cap room to do things with. Maybe it works out in our favor. We'll take all that we can get. There's definitely ways, we talked about it on a number of shows, and if you guys watch the videos, different breakdowns to free up cap space. And, again, people will always comment and say stuff like, I'm literally just taking stats or info off of Over the Cap and then, just hypotheticals this time of year. But yeah, you can free up 70 million, something like that. 007, yeah, Chris Sims. I saw that comment. Most overrated for Jalen Hurts, the player. Jordan, Josh, why didn't I hear you or Thomas mention Julian Aquara? I did. It's been a little while, but we can talk about Julian if you want to. I did in one of my videos. I can't remember which video I did it. It's been a little bit, but it's probably a couple videos ago. But I did break down and like how much Howie was paying for Julian, or the size of the contract kind of tells you. But I mean, I think Julian's a decent signing. There's some potential there. He's didn't really work out in Detroit, had some injuries. It's a very, it just feels like a very Howie type move, like we've seen in a number of times. But you got the low risk, high reward, and that's what he goes with, especially on the futures contracts. I think I saw a comment earlier and I missed it. I forgot to throw it up here, but somebody was saying or asking questions of the futures contracts, and say what you will about like the Eagles and player development at times. I mean, Howie tries to, and there's going to be misses anytime with the players like on the fringe and futures contracts and, everything like this, because there's a reason that these guys were on the practice squads and even available. But like, he tries to live like in the gray area there, like on the fringe. If you could find a diamond in the rough, if you could take a player and they turn out to be a good one for you, I think Howie's hedging his bets. And actually, well, I'd see there's a comment here about this, not necessarily about Julian Aquara, but I'll go ahead and throw this up here from Tracy Ann. Howie's probably just hedging his bets in case he doesn't draft a running back. And I think that's the case in point for Julian Aquara also, because you got Hassan Reddick right now that I would hope they re-sign. I hope you find a middle ground there. But if you don't, Aquara is not your answer of, hey, we're going to go into the season and start him and Josh Sweat as the edge guys. Like, that's not the answer, but you still need some depth there. You don't look at it, in my mind, and you say, okay, hey, we got BG and Nolan Smith. Like, we're good. We just add Julian, and that's solid. Like, that's a group that you want to have rushing the passer. So if that's the case, you just go out there, you hedge your bets with it. You sign a guy like a Julian Aquara who has some potential, has shown some things. Maybe if you get him here with the D-line coach and Clint Hurt, who's been able to prove help perform, kind of get guys to the next level. You still have who's it, Washburn? I think I'm drawing a blank. Yeah, Washburn. You get the guys, a little bit more improved. And if you have that rotational pass rush, who knows? Maybe they have a career year. But yeah, I think it's more of a depth signing, has some athleticism, shown some things. And if you can, it's only a 1-year signing, so you're not really doing a whole lot. I don't know what the guaranteed money. I don't think that'll be a while before that's disclosed, but I can't imagine it's going to be a ton of guaranteed money. But it's a decent sized contract, for a guy like that. So I think it's a solid positive signing for Aquara, and hopefully this is the case for the running back. But again, if you look at the yards per carry there, and I'm not exactly sold on his production so far. I'm at the point of you could just about insert any running back with this O-line and with Jeff Stoutland as the run game coordinator, and they're going to be decent. Like, it doesn't matter who it is, you could throw them up there. So will he put up or could he put up career numbers? Sure, but that's relatively speaking for what he's got so far anyway, and it's not great. It's nothing to write home about. So I don't know. And let me flash the just again for people that are catching up or not as familiar with Ty Davis-Price, although I may call him Tyrion quite a bit for Game of Thrones references. But although this guy is maybe the exact opposite because he's 6'1", 220, and a kind of a power back in this sense. But this was the write-up from Lance Zierlein. This was back at whenever he was drafted, but or I guess pre-draft. But He says here, big athletic back offering an enticing blend of size and explosiveness to go with an SEC pedigree. Davis-Price's early season tape was listless and lacking pro quality, but that changed over the second half of the year. He's an enigmatic back featuring urgency and decisiveness, physicality, and finesse on any given carry. That's not exactly what I want to hear, but he got better as the season progressed, clearly finds a rhythm when given volume carries. Scouts say that staying motivated will be a major factor in future success. Not sure that I love that either. Davis-Price's athletic ability and hammerhead finishes will help him create yardage. He has the size and upside worthy of consideration in the middle rounds. Again, that's your pre-draft scouting report, and as much as those can be right, I think they can be wrong in those cases too. So, take a look at Jalen Hurts, and there's some things that are accurate, there's some things that are not. It's kind of speculation, but I think that you see some of that lived out in the current form that he's had, and either how good or how bad he's been. So, there's potential. I don't think it's anything crazy. Do I think that this is your future starter or even like 1A, 1B as a running back? No, but maybe he makes something happen. And again, with this O-line, it's never the worst thing, but I think this is a depth signing, which could be good, and they saw some potential in it. So maybe he ends up being the guy. It'll be interesting. Jay, appreciate that. Best content creator out of these guys, not even close. Well, I don't know about that, but I appreciate the support. Hello, Mello in Dayton. Cool Rains, who is Lou Nichols? Never heard of him. Yeah, he was the guy that was signed. When was that? That was, how long ago was that? That's been a while. It was kind of an under the radar signing, so you're not wrong for like not knowing about it, but or haven't heard about it much. But yeah, signed into the practice squad. Let's see, where's that report? Back in. Yeah, I think back in October, and then signed to the futures contract. So yeah, 2023 7th round pick in last year's draft by the Packers, and then they released him September 7th, and then Philly added him, but he was Central Michigan running back, a rush for 1,710 yards, leading the nation. Yeah, there's the article, the write-up on him. But again, we had a lot of rotation on the practice squad. So honestly, I'm the same way. There's names sometimes I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot that we had him on the practice squad or that we actually signed him. But he did get as a futures contract, so there's a potential he'll be on the 90-man roster when the new league year begins. And who knows? It's obviously not a guarantee for a ton of players that they're going to be here, but sometimes you look at the size of the contracts or the guaranteed money or things like that, and you figure, okay, they might at least stick around on the practice squad if they can. And who knows, maybe they'll make a roster. But yeah, guaranteed money usually tells a little bit of a bigger story. I think it's even case in point for, like, think about Joseph Ngata. I know that was a different story in the sense of like a UDFA, but he was the most guaranteed money that was offered. And, it was like, okay, he's for sure going to hang around at least practice squad. Obviously, another team could sign him, but maybe there's some potential there. We'll see. Tracy Ann. Also, 2.9 yard average means a brotherly shove on 4th and 1. That's a good one. Hello, Mello. What the hell is up with Craig Carton spreading rumors about the birds? Yeah, we can talk about that if you want to. We'll get into it. Levon, love from Cali. I appreciate it. Currently watching before my shift at Tesla. Okay, cool. Appreciate the support. Appreciate you dialing in or watching before the shift. Good luck with that. But yeah, we can talk about it briefly if you want to. Also, Dank Burrito, I saw your comment. I'm late to getting these, but I know I've mentioned who we signed, talking about TDP, who I'm referring to, the running back. But yeah, if people did not see it, You probably did by this point because there's not a ton to talk about this season. So anytime there's like a signing or, rumors or hating on a player, it usually goes viral. But let me see if I can get the official clip here. All right, here you go. Yeah, so Craig Carton, who, I mean, I'd honestly never watched this show, and there's a couple reasons why. But if you were watching or you saw the clip, says the real reason he knows the real reason out of all people, he knows the real reason for the Eagles' collapse last season. Said it's a problem that would splinter any group of men. It's a real significant problem. It can't be fixed. I will tell you that. I'm not going to say anything more than that. It will be very interesting to see if a high-profile player will be with them next season. Who knows what that is? And who knows how legit that is? Because this is the same dude. I think, didn't he? Some people may know this better than I. Didn't he go to jail or wasn't he sentenced or something? There's something with like fraud that he was it convicted of? I don't want to like make false accusations because again, I don't follow very closely with him. That tells you why. But I'm pretty sure that he got like he got fired from his job or he quit his job previously on the radio before he came back after that. So, I mean, he doesn't really have the best track record and is like, okay, do you really believe it? Plus, he's saying like a little bit without really saying anything. It's just total speculation. And again, it's this time of year where you're going for any sort of views or going viral or just talking about something because there's not a whole lot to talk about. Is it really anything? I don't think so. It's crazy. Yeah, there's and then it's on Twitter, which I think I'd retweeted one of the other clips. But yeah, if you want to listen or watch the actual clip, it's out there. Even if that's true, well, I'm sorry, I don't even believe that it's true. But it's like, okay, what high player profile? What are we talking about? Like what type of situation is going to cause it to where it can't be resolved? It's splintered. The locker room's broken completely. There's going to be maybe a high-profile player gone. Are the Eagles trying to get rid of someone? I don't know. It's just if out of all people that Carton is the one that's saying this by this point too, like I don't know. I just keep coming back to if things like this happened with the volume and how rapid we had so many different reports about players being frustrated and all these other things. Like if there was a legit, he makes it seem like a very big problem, a big issue. Someone would have come out with something. I can't get behind that. I think it's just more speculation and people want to talk, but we'll see. Let me see. I'm going to try to get to some of these comments too. Again, I'm sorry. I'm missing some of them, and I know, and I'm going to try to circle back. But yeah, see, there's Michael. Never heard of Carton. Wait, that's that one there. Yeah, looked him up on Wiki. Has a pass. Yeah, so that's the same. Jay says, "What a clown." And the Aldridge, he needs to worry about his trash Jets. Yeah, okay. See, Jason says Carton went to jail for fraud. I knew there was something that he went to. So, Dang Burrito, what's up? Says dude thought the Giants would beat the Eagles in playoffs. Yeah. Oh, it was charity money to gamble. Okay. I knew it was pretty bad. Twisty, I know what the problem is, but won't actually say what the problem is. Haha, was an idiot. Yeah. $42 months in prison. There you go. Yeah, see, this tells you he's ridiculous. Like, yeah, he's just saying things to talk at this point. So I don't think it's really not a huge deal. Like I say, I mean, you can speculate. I saw people that threw out all kinds of wild hypotheticals, but it's not, it's to me, it's not worth the time. But that's why he said it, and because people are going to, and they're going to take it, run with it, and have stories and articles and even more speculation, because people need to have something to talk about. But I think there's more important though of is this signing? We'll go back to the running back, TDP, Ty Davis-Price, for those that are joining late or just seeing this, but you get a runner in that situation. They say it's the biggest or the best contract for futures contracts, whatever exactly that means. But is it a signing that indicates you're going to not have DeAndre Swift? Is it a signing that indicates Howie Roseman is not going after Derrick Henry? Or I guess you could throw in Saquon Barkley in that argument. I don't know. Personally, I don't think that this changes it from that sense, but I also don't think that Derrick Henry, I know he's second best odds, and it's Ravens and Eagles. People are, saying that, and it's not impossible, but I just keep holding to the fact that it feels crazy. It just seems so wild that would happen, that you're going to pay a running back, even King Henry, as great as he could be, and he may have another year or two left in him. He may have more. He may have more than that, but to me, I'm kind of like, I don't know. I just can't get behind it. But I'm hopeful if you're gonna pay even a little bit of money to a running back, surely it can't be much for a guy like this. Yeah, the 803 hit, man. The show is failing and he needs to drive ratings. That's exactly why he's throwing that out there. Let's see here. Yeah, Donald says, going back to that, the truth is the coaches were not listening to the players' leadership, and problem grew from that. The replacement of coaches changes all that. I mean, yeah, I think for sure you get different coaches in there. I think the players are going to listen to it, no doubt, and you have a different confidence level too. Again, I don't think it's a big deal. Not really an issue to me. Cool Rains here. Thoughts on Darnell Mooney, as wide receiver 3? Yeah, I saw that article from, let me see. I think was it Jimmy Kempski, the first one? I know there's several here. Let me see if I can find that one. But I think he had the first initial report on Darnell Mooney as a potential. I don't hate it. I don't mind it. I mean, you got a fast, shifty guy there at wide receiver 3. I think it's going to be a lot more important, like we talked about a number of times. So let me try to, get this a little bit. There we go. That's better. Not great. But yeah, I think wide receiver 3 is a lot more important than it has been in the past. You're going to have differences of, we don't want Quez. Quez is not the option. Quez is not the answer. We can forget about that. But you're going to need a lot more production than what we've had from whoever you want to insert there. I know that Oz had the 10 catches, but whoever plays wide receiver 3, I'm thinking they're going to probably, you take a look at his numbers there too. Like what, last year, 31 catches, 414, a touchdown. I think whoever you insert as wide receiver 3 in Kellen Moore's offense and the way that he likes to run it has to probably have at least those numbers. And if you think about, Mooney did that with the Bears, it's not a terrible option. I don't know that that would be my favorite pick in terms of, if we're looking for wide receiver 3. But with his shiftiness, quickness, the speed that he brings, not terrible. Yeah, let's see. He's got 4.38 speed. I was going to say, I know he's really fast, but 4.38. Jimmy says here he also has inside-outside versatility, having played 919 career snaps and 45% in the slot. So, there you go. And 27 in October. Still got some potential on that side. Yeah, I don't hate it, but he's not my favorite pick. First pick, I don't know. Noah Brown is a good potential. Outside the Birds is the one who had brought that up, I think, last week in either Friday's show or Tuesday's show. It makes a whole lot of sense with his familiarity with Kellen Moore. So to me, I'm like, that would probably be a really good fit. But we'll see. And there's another contract too. Let me see if I've got this one. I'll throw this up here. That he made a good point based on a former Eagle actually getting a contract, but this is just worth noting and keep an eye on. But Nelson Aguilar got a 1-year, $3.75 million deal. So, you're looking at wide receiver 3 numbers, potentials, and what you might have to pay roughly in getting, or what, Howie Roseman might go after in terms of a wide receiver 3. That's probably a good estimate for what? If you're looking at like a Noah Brown, if you're looking at a Kendrick Bourne, yeah, like Anthony said here, let me put that one up. There you go. Yeah, say Noah Brown, Kendrick Bourne, somewhere in the $4 to $5 million per year, probably. I don't necessarily disagree with that because again, you're taking a look at what Nelson got of 3.75. So, but I think that they're going to be worth it. And maybe in years past, I would say like no. Certainly with a Quez, I would be like, why on earth would we ever try to pay a wide receiver 3? Because you don't use Quez and you didn't use Olamide Zaccheaus, but it's going to be a different offense. So I'm okay with that. I think you go out there, you get someone who's proven, who can help the offense, help Jalen, and it'll be a lot better for that. But yeah, I mean, I guess Michael H says Tyler Boyd for slot receiver. How much would Tyler Boyd be though? That's one that's. I mean, he's proven. I talked about him a while back, but I want to say is he like twice as much? Let me see if I can find it here on Spot Track. I think he's going to be a lot more pricey, maybe too much. There's I don't necessarily know what in my head I'm willing to pay or how far I'd be willing to go, but I don't know if I don't want to go crazy numbers. Okay, yeah, here I'll throw this up here. Yeah, it's 8.7. Again, it's just an estimate, so it's who knows for sure. But 8.7 for a wide receiver 3, they're going to be good in Kellen Moore's offense. Yeah, they're going to be used, but that might be a little much for me to consider for a wide receiver 3. Talking about the positions that we need to actually fill. And if you could save, 3 to 4 million, and you get a different guy like a Noah Brown, Kendrick Bourne, even a Darnell Mooney, and get him for cheaper, wouldn't be the first option there. But yeah, Tyler Boyd's probably better in that sense. But I can't justify looking at that and saying, yeah, we were going to pay him because there's really not enough mouths to feed as it is. So they're going to have more production. They're just not going to have a crazy amount of production in my mind. Gary Reed asking about the TDP. Can he run the ball? Didn't seem to be great, but maybe. Yeah, I am with Andrew though. I was just asking the question of how much does it impact. He says don't look into it a bit much. He's a camp body. They can sign Henry to a 1-year, $8 million deal with incentives and bonuses to get the number down and add to it. There is enough room. I just don't know that it's. I don't think it's that number. I think it's just the fact that what Howie's done in the past based on running backs anyway that they're not going to. But maybe I'm wrong. Is your twin taller than you? He is actually, just barely. It's not Dosh Javis. Mark saying you make it a year or two out of Henry's best days maybe behind him. Signing Ridley. It'd be great, but there's no way. You're not paying Calvin Ridley money for a wide receiver 3. Come on. The offense would be great. It'd be nice, but there's no way. You're not doing that. Yeah, Twisty. I'm with you. Mooney would be an upgrade from Quez, in my opinion, but then again, almost anyone. Yep. Almost anyone is an upgrade there. Ricky says draft a linebacker or go after a free agent like Patrick Queen. Yes, I know that's the main priority. I think defense is for sure the priority. You got to go get something. Let's see here. Donald says wide receiver 3 is proven with has to be proven with ability to be wide receiver 2. Yeah, I can get behind that. You do want them. We saw it even from the limited action with whenever AJ went down. Like, didn't give me the best vibes as we saw and everyone witnessed. Granted, we had so many things wrong with our team anyway, so that wasn't the only area. But yeah, in case something were to happen, I'm with you. I can get behind that. Let's see here. We'll go with Birdman 31 says get D Henry. I know a lot of people would love it. There's potential there. David, what's up? How's it going? Sorry, I'm getting to some of the comments here later, but what do you think about the kids? We signed Shaq Davis for our wide receiver 3 spot. Yeah, that's another name there. Shaq Davis, maybe. It's a bigger wide receiver for sure. What is he, 6'4"? 6'5"? Trying to think off the top of my head here. What is he? 6'5" officially? Okay. Yeah, maybe. He got apparently more, at least some more guarantees than some other futures contracts players. So I think that it tells you there's at least something there. The Eagles may be seeing if that'll work out. I don't know. There's several names that could potentially come out of that group there. I don't know if they're gonna go with someone that's unproven and say, that's wide receiver 3. He could win it maybe in camp, but I feel like going in, it's probably going to be more of a solidified spot, like how he's going to go get his guy, whether it's asking Kellen Moore and getting some input there of who's your preference for wide receiver 3, and figuring out someone who's familiar with Kellen Moore's system, or it's just going getting a wide receiver 3 who's proven anyway, and then bringing them into the offense. But I feel like that's what I would lean toward. I don't know. There's a chance, though. And also Austin Watkins. I mean, don't forget about him. Came over from Cleveland. New change of scenery, could potentially do something. Played really well in preseason. Has a lot of potential. So maybe he's a playmaker. He could win out on a spot or be there for your wide receiver 3. But I feel like it'll be a name that is a little bit more recognizable. Brian says, why not keep Oz? I mean, he was okay. I just think that you're probably going out there to get somebody else that is. I would lean toward just a familiarity with Kellen Moore. For some reason, they didn't use him a ton, even with Quez. But again, I know that the Sirianni love for Quez is crazy high, so possibly that's why. But yeah, I think if you just look at different options, I'd say let's try someone else. John Doe. What's up, Josh? What's up, John? Appreciate it. Dame, appreciate the support. And Jordan says, who's going to replace Mariota? It's a good question. Who do we get as a QB2? I don't know if I have an answer to that one yet, really. I think I'm going to take a look and see at just potentials at Rich King McKee. He's not going to... I mean, Jacoby Brissett was the name that I liked last season, and McKee has potential, but there's no way that he's going to be QB2. I mean, for one, I think John McMullen was the one who had the first article on this, but there's been several others that I've seen, but like the Birds don't necessarily lean towards like, hey, let's have a younger... I mean, yes, there's instances, but I feel like in this part where, hey, the team has a really legit chance of, all right, we should make the playoffs. It might be a difficult path because we do have a difficult schedule, but we should make the playoffs. There's a lot of opportunity. There's tons of, there's tons of skill on this team. So you take advantage of it. Just go get a guy that can fill in if needed. You're not going to rely on him. Obviously, you're sticking with Jalen, but yeah, like Jacoby Brissett, wouldn't hate that. Stop, Michael. Stop. Winston Foles for our backups. I see the JK, but come on. Frankie Ray. Hey, Josh, if Kelce decides to retire, are you comfortable with Juergens, or do you think we should look to draft or free agency? Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, let's see. I think we talked about that on Friday too on the live stream, but I can go over it again too. Yeah, if he retires, I'm comfortable with Juergens, to be honest. He's not, it's you don't replace a GOAT, I guess, immediately. So will he be up to the same standard as Jason Kelce? I don't know. But center is his first and best position. Cam Jurgens was made to be a center. He's not made to be a right guard. So I'm comfortable. I think that Cam Jurgens will be great, or good, but then can be great, whatever. I don't think there's really any glaring holes there. Or I say like, oh gosh, you need to like game plan or figure out a way to, protect him or whatever. I think he'll be fine. To me, it's really that right guard spot. I don't know if I'm totally sold on what we're doing at the right guard yet. Maybe it's Steen. He might be good enough. He did get a little bit of playing time, one start, and then, I guess the Washington game, he played quite a bit. There's like one other one that I'm probably forgetting, but he got a little bit of action. So, maybe they view him in that sense, but also seems like he was drafted for more of the tackle spot. So if I'm thinking about it, you might go after someone with versatility. It doesn't necessarily have to be, hey, let's go get a big name, free agent, or even try to draft really high for a day one starter at right guard. But at least do something in terms of getting a guy that has some versatility. And maybe it is. Maybe it's a guy that you get who can play right guard and right tackle, and then you rotate between Tyler Steen and whoever you draft. Because I think you could start, figuring out, okay, what's Lane Johnson's replacement going to be? But yeah, see, now we've got the argument that started of Foles and Wentz. Great. Oh, Michael says, I think Steen will be a decent right guard. Maybe so. Very limited action. So we'll see. Yeah, Jurgens was fine, I guess, at right guard. Wasn't just atrocious, but he needs to be center. Nate asking the question that we all would, I guess, want to just double check and make sure of. Does the brotherly shove work with Jurgens? Does it keep up? Does it work with Jurgens running it versus Kelce? I mean, I think so. Surely. I would be curious too. That is a good, I guess a case study that you could do at the end of the season if Jason doesn't come back next year. But like what the percentage ends up becoming, and assuming it doesn't get banned. Surely it won't be, but you never know. I think that it will. Jurgens has been taught by Kelce. He's not the same, it's not the master there, but let's say it drops from a 92, 93% rate to a, 90? Maybe that's the question. What's the percentage that you would justify it, that you would say it's still working? Because it could drop a few percentages, but like, where's the level? If we're at a 92 to 93% success rate with Jason Kelce, what does it need to be with Jurgens to say it still works? Yeah, Rich King says it works as long as we have Jalen. Okay, so Nate says, 92, 93%. So it needs to be basically the same. That's fine. Yeah, just keep it exactly where it is. I can understand that. I'm okay with it if it's a couple percentages less, but I feel you on that. Rules committee meets in the summer sometime. Let me see if I can. Let's see the exact date will pop up here, but it was the summer last year ish, I think, wasn't it, or was it in the spring? Let's see. It's actually okay. Looks like it was in March 24th of last year. Was the meeting for last year? So I'm assuming. I guess it would stick to. I'm not seeing this year's listed yet. I guess it would be March. So coming up. That's the rule change proposal. I don't know if that's whenever. I'm gonna have to look into it more. I don't know. I don't know if that's just the proposal and then there's a separate meeting. It feels like it was later last year, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was March. It's crazy. The time flies too, so it could be. Yeah, it's literally been. I think tomorrow is the 1 year mark for the channel here. Just crazy. So appreciate all the support. It is ridiculous to think about. It's literally been a year since starting the channel. But it's been a blast. It's been awesome. By the way, a little plug here. We're gonna have the members stream on Friday. So also gonna do the Friday night hangout as always, which is just for everybody. But the members stream Zoom call for Hungry Dogs members and up. Hungry Dogs and Breed of One be the Zoom call. So go for probably like an hour. I think it'll be like 7:30 Eastern till 8:30 Eastern. So just an Eagles hangout and talk about whatever. Usually have giveaways and special stuff for members too, but you can get in on that. I did send out a message on the community page for members. So if you're at a Hungry Dogs tier or Breed of One, that has the link and the passcode and everything else that you need to get in for the Zoom call. So just like make sure to go over there and check that out because I don't want you to miss it. But yeah, it'll be Friday at 7:30, and then I think we'll also do the hangout at whenever it be like 8:30 Eastern. Tyrone, what's good? How's your day going? Let's see. I missed a comment here earlier. Let me get back to it. Brian, who would you choose for tight end 2? It's a good question there. I don't know if I've looked into tight ends too much for options. What about y'all? What tight ends come to mind? Oh, John here. This would go. Juwan Johnson from the Saints, if he's available. Yeah, let's see. Where's the... If you pick up a free agent or if you go after just drafting a tight end. I would, and this is just, without taking a look here, but I would lean towards drafting because it feels similar-ish to the time of, drafting Zach Ertz replacement. Not that we're saying, hey, let's get rid of Goddard and we're done with him. He's got a lot of potential still, I think. But they would probably lean towards drafting, and then you're not having to pay as much. But if there's someone available, maybe. That is a good point that you bring up, though, and maybe an underrated point. If Goddard goes down, the offense is drastically different. I mean, love Jack Stoll. He's been decent, been good even, I guess, on blocking. But as far as a receiver, not really a good option out there. Oh, yeah, John, I see your comment here. Sorry, I'm late and getting to it, but let me throw this up here. You look up tight end free agents. Let me share the screen. All right, we got tight ends, free agent options. Let me try to zoom in here a little bit more so we can see the names a bit better. All right, you've got, we're not paying top dollar for these tight ends here, so I think you can cross off several of the upper echelon guys here. I don't know. There's depends on how much. That's the hard part too. Is you just don't want to pay like crazy amount on one of these guys. But if you bring in like, like a Mercedes Lewis, Robert Tonyan. I don't know if Austin Hooper and like the price that you'd pay and the limited action. I mean, because honestly, a tight end 2 that you're bringing in here, you could look at the receiving receptions and the yards. Like a tight end 2 in this offense, they're going to get a few catches, but they're not going to be great. I would assume over the course of the season, if Olamide Zaccheaus had 10 catches this year, tight end 2. Again, yes, you need it in case someone gets injured, but still, it's like if Goddard's healthy, if he's healthy, tight end 2 is getting 5 catches, maybe. If he gets injured for a couple games, possibly 10 catches. It's still not going to be that much. Man, I don't know. Jeff Swain. It's just you got to have the combination too. I think it first comes down to, can they block? That would be the biggest question. And then if they can block, then maybe, yeah. Jimmy Graham, 38 years old. Yeah, I mean, there's a few different options, but it's hard to say, really. I mean, I think if you go with your wide receiver 3, as much as they're going to get used, I don't know. Tight end 2, it's maybe not as big of an issue because I still think that you're just game planning it for someone to block. But I hear you. I mean, there's frustration all over the place of like, why do you have a tight end 2? Because you know that you're not going to throw to him, especially if you put him in and you're running a package where you've got both the tight ends. I don't know. That's the thought anyway. But Michael Kerwin, what's up? I'm doing well. How are you doing? Oscar Goat Davis. Appreciate that. But appreciate you hanging out. Charles Lawrence, what's up, Josh? How's it going, Charles? Yeah, John Doe says Alberto was not it. Twisty Curtis Samuel at slot. I don't know what's his what's his market value though. That's what I keep coming back to because these are names here that like I like a lot of names. Like everyone's thrown out good names here, but it's like how much are they going to cost? And to me, just off the top of my head, I'm thinking he's got to be pretty high, right? Like he might be more than he's probably more than a Tyler Boyd prediction with the age and where is he at? Let's see. He is. Oh gosh, yeah. No. Love the name, the potential there. It'd be awesome, but no, there's no way. 11.5. He would produce well, and the offense would be great, but again, just there's no way I could see that we're going to pay that amount of money. We still need an effective wide receiver 3 for sure. Don't get me wrong about that, but there's no way. Even if he takes below what the estimated market value is, let's say he takes 9, that's still crazy high considering all the areas that we gotta fill. Let me get to the super chat here. Let's see. I think I missed that one. Young Truth, appreciate the $2 super chat. Bring back Albert O. Easy. Okay. Appreciate the super chat. Appreciate the support. I don't know. definitely was hopeful. I was really hopeful for Albert O to do something. You know, his athleticism and Howie trading for him made me think like, okay, you know what? Did they see something? And again, it's probably too much optimism, but there's just some game plan in there. It may be with the way the offense is run, or what Brian Johnson might have wanted to do, or Nick Sirianni, but they saw something and said, "Hey, let's get this guy," because they had to know that he can't block. Like this is a very easy, like didn't take long to realize if you watched any games or if you quickly looked up, just the breakdown of film on him or just reading articles, like Alberto could not block, and then we obviously saw that in very limited action, but. I'm amazed. I really am. I'm just amazed at the lack of how much they played him. And it's just, I would love for him to work out because that's the thing is he has potential to be a great receiving tight end, but you've already got one in Dallas Goedert. And I just don't think that you say, we're going to keep a guy or bring back a guy or, have someone that's a liability when we have him blocking, which is the vast majority of his role. And plan on, unfortunately, like tight end 2 has to be a good blocking tight end. Like I guess that's why I'd say if you're going to do that, go with a drafting a player who has some potential to be decent receiving, or pretty good, but is not afraid to get in there and block and has the ability, or maybe it's just the want to block. But I don't know. Appreciate the super chat, and I'll say, I was with you whenever we first signed him. People that saw the video that whenever it first came out, I was like, insane potential. This dude, high hopes. Thought he might be able to kind of be a sneaky pick, not anything in terms of play him on fantasy, but make an impact a couple games, especially whenever Goddard went down. I'm thinking like, all right, maybe we'll finally see him. Just did not work out that way. Appreciate all the happy anniversaries too. Ridge King, Nate, Tracy Ann, Twisty, Ernie. Yeah, Michael's comment. Last year there were so many good tight ends drafted. I don't know. It can't be. Can't be someone that you're taking super early though, right? I mean, if you're gonna draft someone, I'm thinking, what round do you utilize with And I'll throw up the Eagles picks again for the numbers. All right, here we go. Just as a refresher. See, the problem is with the holes that we have, it's like I just don't know that you're not using first, obviously. You're not using either of your seconds in my mind on a tight end 2. I mean, maybe if someone's there and you love them, you're thinking you go with the replacement. I mean, Howie always does try to give him credit most of the time, but he tries to get ahead of the game and take the replacements before they actually need the replacement, which I think is good. I don't know if you go anything earlier than a 3. And honestly, I'd probably want it to be a 5, but still, it's like, okay, if you're actually legitimately wanting to go after a Dallas Goedert replacement, I don't think that you wait till the 5th round and say, oh, maybe we've got value here. We feel like that's the next Dallas Goedert. Tyrone says, do you think Ertz will retire this year with us, Josh? I hope so bad. Probably. I don't know. The way that it ended, or the season, for him trying to play on a playoff contender and taking forever to sign and finally doing so, only to lose in the first game there, which he didn't play, but just getting on for one game. It feels like it's getting really close. I don't know if he's going to try to play one more season, land with one team, what that's going to look like, but whenever it happens, I mean, he's definitely going to sign back, with Philly. Like I think that's a given. So oh my gosh, Michael, about to sacrifice the neighbor's dog to the gods for a good draft because we need one. My gosh, maybe don't. We do need a good draft. Just don't take it out on the neighbor's dogs for a number of reasons. I'm a dog person, not a cat person, so definitely don't. I'll get the Philly dog shirt even also on, ironically. But yeah, let's stay away from that. There's other things. I'm with you. We could do something else. Take it easy on the neighbor's dogs. Young Truth with a 2 more says, look at coaching staff scheme. Everybody was off. I mean, that's you're not wrong. Definitely was off. People were everyone was not in good spots. There's a reason there was so much frustration. Jalen, the receivers, coaches, all the speculation, everything else. Sure, players were not being utilized great, but I still think just from the amount of action or the limited action that he saw, it just doesn't feel like he's going to be the guy. Maybe it is. Oh, Laura, appreciate the comment here too. Rules Committee meets at the annual league meeting March 24th through the 27th. So there you go. It felt like for some reason it was later in the summer, but again, that's why time flies, and who knows. Asher, Ben Sinnott. Is it Sinnott or Sinnott? I think I've heard multiple people saying it different ways, so I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, ranked as the second best blocking tight end in the draft, probably be available 3rd to 5th. Maybe so. Could potentially see that. Keith says Hunter Renfrow, possibly. Could be interesting, yeah. I mean, I think he was he linked? Everyone seems to get linked these days. I understand that, but I think he was linked around the trade deadline, wasn't he, to the Eagles, or was it just last season in general? There was something with Hunter Renfrow, so maybe if he gets cut, might have a little bit of interest there. Devontae, what's up? Says, hey Josh, how you feeling, man? Doing good, feeling pretty good. The lack of depth we have this offseason will determine how we'll do next season. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's tons of holes like we talked about, but it's where the Eagles can get younger and where we can be better from like a long-term perspective. So I'm totally with you on that. Like, I don't mind these like short-term, answers or trying to fill a little bit of gaps that way, but the bulk of it needs to be okay, hey, long term, where are we going with this? Do we have guys in place? And we need to get some extensions done too, like to free up some cap space. But it's like that window of, okay, Jalen's contract is not really hitting. The big money is not hitting yet. So take advantage of it while you can. I know you got to pay certain players, and we're probably going to lose some guys, unfortunately. But yeah, you got to get a lot more depth, and hopefully Howie can take advantage of free agency. I mean, I'm really excited. I'm also really anxious, not going to lie, about free agency, because I think this is, I guess you could say it's big every season and big every year with free agency, but like this one of many free agencies of the past feels like it's very crucial because of possibly the fact that there are so many holes, but also just with the players available or the ones that might be available. Is Howie going to finally make a big splash? Is he going to, I shouldn't say finally make a big, but like finally make a big splash in positions that he doesn't necessarily always do that? Like could it be linebacker? Could it be running back? Maybe, hopefully. I would love to see it in terms of linebacker. I don't know that it will, but I do think it's a big case in point of like how he performs in this free agency period is going to set the table, because I don't think that we can go in there and say, even if we have a great draft, that we're filling all these holes in the draft anymore, and yeah, there's players that'll develop. I think that Keely Ringo, off the top of my head, that's the first one that I throw out there. I think that he will be much improved. Will he be a starter? Maybe not. But I think that he'll continue to improve. He looked pretty good towards the end of last season when he started to get playing time. I think Sidney Brown's going to be good when he can get healthy. Hopefully the ACL doesn't, have a lingering effect on him though. But I think that just from the mindset and his aggressiveness, there's a little bit of, hey, like, tone it down just a bit. But I would rather have a player like that than someone that, we got to get hyped up and get, more energetic and ready to play and everything else. So I don't know. We'll see. Weedosaurus Rex, though, says can't be surprised by how he's spending anymore. I guess it depends on what he spends on. He says he signed Penny to sit the bench 99% of the season. That's true. But what was it? What was it for, right? Wasn't it, what was, let me look this up. It was very little. I mean, I hear you. It was not the cost effectiveness was sure not great, but it was 1.3 million. So yeah, I mean, Rashad made out better on that deal, but it's not a much. I mean, you're signing people for very, very low number. It was crazy that he didn't use him hardly at all. I did think that you could maybe see a little bit more, but then when he did get in the game, he couldn't block, so he was a liability on that side. Yeah, see in the comments here, Lad McConkey. He would be a fun player, but yeah, I'm seeing comments as I'm catching up, but probably one of those that is a little bit high. I appreciate, Michael, you doing whatever you can to help with the draft. Just maybe other creative ways. Andrew says, I need Howie to draft the next Malcolm Jenkins, a safety that'll be here for the next 5 to 6 years, that is a high character guy and a player that will be a leader for this team. I'm with you on it. I mean, who is that guy, though? So far from what you've seen, if I'm with you on the safety. If he wants to go draft one and you have him and Sidney Brown, or, maybe you have someone else in mind, but I'm thinking him and Sidney Brown for your safeties, like draft a guy, like get a baller. But who is that guy from what you've seen? Do you have somebody in mind for the safety, or are you just saying that in general? I'm curious. Keith, what's up? Says I'm late, but do you think Calvin Ridley is a realistic move? Appreciate you joining, but no, we were talking about that a second ago. There's no way. You don't pay Calvin Ridley for a wide receiver 3 spot. There's absolutely zero chance that Calvin Ridley comes over. If you have AJ Brown, you have Smitty, there is no way, because that is too much money. Heck, we looked up other contracts of, what you got to pay. A Curtis Samuel was thrown out there. Love the name, love the potential, could perform well. It's too much money. Let's see, what's Calvin Ridley? I'm gonna say, he's the highest out of everybody so far. It's what, 15-ish million, something like that, maybe even more. What does Spot Track have him at? Oh yeah, 17. So here you go. Yep. Love the player. Again, would it be dominant? Would it be fun in Madden? Would it be fun to play with the team even more? Sure, but there's just no way. There's, if you only had one receiver, then maybe even if you had just one receiver, but no chance for Calvin Ridley. Heck, that money needs to go to Smitty, honestly. Like, you want to pay a receiver, Smitty needs to get that extension. Pay him, I don't know what it is, 20-ish million? Get the extension done, free up a little bit of cap space. It doesn't do much, I guess, for Smitty, at least this season, but get Smitty long-term. Sign that, be done with it. We don't have to worry about it. Yeah, Brandon, see your comment a little bit later, but who did they sign, Josh? The running back that we were talking about was Tyrion Davis-Price, TDP. 6'1", 220, power back, inconsistent, great, terrible, a mixture, although recently, not great in terms of the NFL. Scouting report, whenever he came out, 2022 was that way, but 2.9 yards a carry, I think was 2 seasons ago. Only like 20 carries or something. He hasn't had a lot of carries. Total is like 40 carries for 120 yards. So he's had a very brief flash in the preseason, but again, that's the preseason, so I don't think you take much from it. In actual NFL game, regular season action, 2.9 yards a carry 2022 and like 3.5 yards a carry and like only 5 carries or 5 touches last season. So not a whole lot, depth signing. Steph 23, so much for signing Henry. Looks like we're signing Trey Sermon 2.0. I would agree that, yes, it feels like a Trey Sermon 2.0, but not as much with a signing Henry due to this move. So we talked about it in the open. Howie could still do it. I don't think it's Derrick Henry to begin with. I really struggle to come to terms of saying that he's going to make a splash for that. Possibly he does. The thing is, I'll actually be kind of happy. I'm not saying this is like, as soon as they, sign Derrick Henry, I'll be like, oh crap, they signed Derrick Henry. Like, I'll be happy about it. It'll just be surprising. I'm just, in terms of what I actually think they're going to do, it feels unlikely that they're going to sign a Derrick Henry. I'm hopeful that it's DeAndre Swift, to be honest. If you're going to sign and spend a little bit of money, do it with Swift. Kimberly, what's up? Says, Josh, if we go the route of drafting a linebacker, who do you think we'll draft? Good question. I honestly, who knows where in the draft that we're going to go with a linebacker, but the more that I look at it, the more that I lean towards probably an Edgerrin Cooper, because I like the size that he brings. And if you're going to pair him with a Nakobe Dean, maybe Nakobe is not a long-term answer, and maybe he just can't figure stuff out. But they're going to give him at least one more year. Howie's stuck to that. He's going to continue to say it. So, yeah, if you're trying to get another linebacker to pair next to him, I would prefer a bigger linebacker, because Nakobe is 6 foot at best. So yeah, you get a different linebacker who has a little bit more size and maybe can, help make up for that. But personally, whoever we go with next to Nakobe, I want them to be a bigger, taller linebacker, that can hopefully show a little bit of range. I know Zach Cunningham is bigger and taller and has been described as rangy, but Zach Cunningham needs to be your backup option. He needs to be someone that can play but doesn't have to play. So we'll see. But yes, preference-wise, I wouldn't mind that because even if Nakobe doesn't work out, I hope he does. Let me just disclaimer, I hope that he does. But if he doesn't, I think Edgerrin Cooper could even slide in. And then you're like, okay, hey, he could be the guy. You know, his potential, what he could be on this team. And then you have a bigger linebacker as your green dot wearer, thinking long term. But I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't hate it. Go back to Andrew's comment, though, for a safety. He says, Torrey Taylor from Air Force is a high character player. Day 3 pick, though. Jaden Hicks, also another safety with high character from what I know and have seen from him. Also, Cam Kinchins to be that guy. Okay. I like it. Yeah, Cam Kinchins has been definitely one that's thrown out a couple different times. So I'd be pretty happy with that pick if we got Kitchens. Jay, what's up? Appreciate the 2. Says, would Zacchaeus be an option to re-sign for wide receiver 4? I guess that's an interesting point. I don't think so because I feel like if we're going wide receiver 4 and even wide receiver 3 probably needs to be this, but in my head, whenever I think of wide receiver 4, my immediate thought in this, maybe I need to change it a little bit because of Kellen Moore's offense. But in past years, I've been going like, okay, if we have a wide receiver 4, I want them to be a good blocking wide receiver. And Oz tries, you know, and he has a clip, sure, like even on the Smitty touchdown, I think, or the AJ touchdown, where he's running way down the field and picking up blocks. So like he gives effort. I just don't know if I want him as wide receiver 4 for blocking scenarios. That may be like way too micro focused on a specific, like usage for your wide receiver 4. But I don't know. You might. I feel like with all the options that you have that are cheaper, you know, from the futures contracts that you signed, you probably find a wide receiver 4 elsewhere. So if he's, I think he's gone because I don't think that he's your wide receiver 3 option. There's other guys that probably would be a little bit better fit, familiar with Kellen Moore like we were talking about earlier. And as far as, again, the options that you have from the futures and players already in the roster, Joseph Ngata, Austin Watkins, Shaq Davis. I'm probably forgetting a couple. But there's potential there that they see. So probably not. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. They might do it. But I'd probably rather just see like, hey, if we can develop one of these guys that they've been high on and have athletic traits and they have the traits that you would like to see hopefully be able to progress, then yeah, maybe you get something out from one of those guys. Dak says, is Quez gone? I don't know if that's a question mark or is that just kind of like a, answering it in terms of a reverse of is Quez gone? But surely, yes. Not officially, but come on. Yeah, okay. See, that's what I was thinking of. Zach Pascal. Rather have Pascal back instead of Oz. Is he a free agent? One more year with Arizona. Officially was looking that up, but you still need some. You need, I think, somebody else other than Oz. Unfortunately. Let's see. Here's a question: who is your favorite cornerback in the draft? Probably the more that I go with this is probably Quinyon Mitchell. like I've talked about a couple different guys, but I think it's just scheme fit also. But from Toledo, cornerback from Toledo, Quinyon Mitchell, I think he'd be a good potential option there. And he's not. I don't think that he's necessarily the consensus in terms of just overall best corner of the draft. It seems like he's like second corner, maybe even third corner coming off the board in most of the mock drafts that I've seen. But to me, he just makes a ton of sense. And he may by the time this thing, in April, once we're there, he might be the top corner that gets taken off the board. But yeah, I think with his ability, the fact that he's more of an off coverage corner, like in the Fangio scheme in the system, I've talked about this before, but I think it does make a whole lot of sense. And he's mentioned Darius Slay as his, I guess, the guy that he looks, I don't know if he said looks up to, or like the guy that he kind of hones his game off of or watches a lot of game. So it'd be probably a benefit if he gets in there with Slay, and Slay can teach him some stuff for, however long he's got left, if it's just a season or two or whatever. But yeah, probably lean towards Quinyon Mitchell as being the guy. Although, one of the sleeper, this is not the best, I guess the best option, or someone that I'm saying like, hey, pick him in the first round. But one of the more mid-round players that I would consider, and talked about him in the most recent video, those Quantez Stiggers, the CFL Rookie of the Year corner from. Well, actually, I was going to say he didn't play college ball, but he went to the CFL, won Rookie of the Year, and I mean, he's got some potential. He's got some game there. Turned some heads at the Shrine Bowl, so it might be an option. But I posted that on Twitter, the link to the last video. But it was pretty cool too, because whenever I posted this, then I guess Stickers actually saw it, and then he commented back and he said it's a blessing. So, I mean, at least he liked the video. That was kind of cool. And then I guess to continue on with where this thing went, we'll see if this actually takes place. But yeah, I actually I messaged him. I was gonna see if he's seen it yet or responded. Doesn't look like he has, but I messaged him recently and asked if he would come on. So who knows? Maybe we'll get an interview with Quantez Stiggers. That would be pretty cool. But he's got a really cool story. So if you didn't see it, the last video that I did talked about him. He's probably, if you're going to get him, I would think it's like a 5th round pick, maybe. He might go earlier than that. There was a speculation that I think it was 20 or maybe even more than 20 teams wanted to sign Stiggers because he was in the CFL. And so people wanted to sign him to futures contracts, which makes sense, right? Like you like the player, so you're like, hey, let's offer him some good money here, sign him. But apparently, I don't know all of the exact specifics, but there was something with the NFL and him not declaring or I guess not going to a college and having to go through the whole process before he could land on a team. So he wasn't able to be signed to a futures contract. So there's a lot of interest in Stiggers as a good potential guy, not a day one pick. So it may be something more of like, 3, 4, 5, or even later. But if 20 teams or more were lining up to sign this guy for a futures contract before the NFL had to step in and say, whoa, hold on, this dude has to go through the draft. Could be worth a flyer. There's a lot of interest already. But if there was that much interest too, I don't know. You might have to draft him a little earlier than you would want to, but we'll see. Sounds like he's kind of interested in it at least. So we'll keep you guys posted as well. If we can get him on for an interview, that would be fun. But if not, then, we'll keep rolling. Eventually we'll get one of these on, hopefully. Devontae, do you really trust Howie with our offseason deals since we got to get guys paid? I mean, yeah, in terms of like getting contracts done and paying players and freeing up space, I trust it from that side. Now, what's he going to do in terms of the actual targets that he goes after? That's the part that I don't know fully, because we need to figure out the middle of the defense, especially with a Fangio scheme. And that's the only part that I'm wondering is he going to actually spend and get that solved, get that figured out? Andrew says, like Cooper, however, coverage ability reminds me of Jalen Smith. Okay, that's not a great thing. Trotter Jr. more balanced would be okay with on a day 2 or early day 3. I wouldn't hate it. Wouldn't hate Trotter Jr. Just size wise, maybe I'm too stuck on that, but I would just prefer a bigger linebacker. But I know that's not always great. And yes, to your point of like coverage wise, I don't want just any linebacker. So if we've got issues on that, maybe not. But Fanny says Julio has a little sputter left in him. I don't know. He might be done. Dax, what do you think are chances at trading up for a center or Kelce coming back? Not high on either, really. I mean, you might get like a Jackson Powers Johnson. I think that would be really surprising, but he's got potential, I think, to play right guard. So if you got him and like the versatility to say, okay, cool, we could have this dude maybe play at center, but that's probably Cam Jurgen's spot, so he could play right guard, and you have the versatility. Not the worst thing, but I just can't see it with. I really can't see you trading up necessarily. Maybe he falls in your lap and you're sitting there at 22, and Howie doesn't want to move back or trade back to get additional picks and then wait. But I am going to be a little bit upset, and maybe I should somewhat preface that, but I feel like I'm going to be a little bit upset if we draft any offensive player at number 1, like at 22, but our first round pick, instead of something defense. Maybe I'm wrong, and on draft night when we're streaming, it could be different if some player falls in your lap there and you're like, okay, yes, we have to take him. But overall, it's going to be, I don't know. It'll be a little frustrating to say the least, I think, if that's where we go. And then Kelce coming back, I would love for him too. I really hope that he does. But percentages, I would say it feels like it's less likely that he comes back than him, heading off and riding off into the sunset, I suppose, whatever you want to call it. Jay says Mitchell or Rakestraw. Yeah, Ennis Rakestraw. He's a pure zone corner. Yep, Andrew, definitely know how you feel of Mitchell. Yeah, if he makes it past Indy at 15, how he needs to trade up. I could see that. I feel like regardless, he's going to trade. So talking about, I guess, both in tandem here, the center comment, or, just what he's going to do at 22. I'll also be surprised if we pick at 22. Not going to lie. It seems like just with Howie and how often he does like to trade and make moves, that it'll either be a trade up scenario to get who you want if someone's still available, like a Quinyon Mitchell, or just trade back and you get some more picks. But I'll be kind of surprised if it's like, oh, cool, we're picking at 22 where we had. That's where we're at. The Black Eggs, that's amazing. He responded, yeah, I try to get to as many comments as possible. Good piece you done. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm with Michael. I don't think trading up for a center, though, in general. Again, kind of like what I said there. Let's see. Fanny says Isaiah Bond from Alabama. Oh, I don't know why I did that. Change to the computer camera. Let's see. Isaiah Bond. I don't know, but we can figure this out. Yeah, looks like he's officially transfer portal. So doesn't look like he's going draft wise. But maybe next year draft. Peter says Peyton Wilson would be the best or perfect fit for us. Best linebacker in the draft. Yeah, he's definitely an option. I've seen a couple different videos on him. He was interviewed. Joe Castro, shout out to Joe, had an interview with Peyton. I think there's a couple others, but yeah, he's had. What has Peyton had? And I don't know if this scares teams off, or I guess to what extent it might. But he's had a couple ACL injuries, right? I know he's had one, but I think it was two. And maybe he's fine. I get that. But let's see, where was that? Because I think to me the injury history is just where I'm a little bit skeptical or concerned. But again, maybe that's why he could fall in the draft or go a little bit later than what you might expect, and you go up there and get him. But let's see. It is, I found it here. So, yeah, so 2 ACL tears and a serious shoulder injury that cost him most of 2021. I mean, that's kind of significant. I mean, that scares me off a bit. Like I say, just initially injury history, and then confirming the 2 ACLs and the shoulder. That's the only part. And again, who knows? He could get to the NFL and be perfectly fine and play for 10 years or whatever and be fine. But that's the main, I think, detractor, is just looking at that injury history. Ridge, appreciate it. I may be seeing this late. You might already be gone, but appreciate you hanging out. Jimmy, how's it going? Says, how do you feel about Sidney Brown? I feel like he's going to light it up this season if given the chance. Yeah, I do too. Very high on Sidney Brown. Has not changed one bit. Really, the only thing for me, I guess, talking about Peyton Wilson's ACLs, is Sidney Brown with the torn ACL. How quickly can he get back from that? Is there going to be any rust or just recovery, right? I mean, once he gets back. But just his mental toughness, the physicality that he brings, the intensity that he plays with, I love all of that. And I think that he's going to take another jump or take another step, assuming that he can get back on the field pretty quickly and, continue to progress, learn Fangio's scheme. But overall, I mean, if it's me, I'm still sitting there going like, Sidney Brown is part of your future. Like, he is one of your safeties. Maybe that doesn't end up happening, but I'm not writing him off. I'm not thinking, okay, he might be a backup. I'm still planning on this thing. If once he gets healthy, once he gets to 100%, like he's your guy. He's going to be one of those starters out there. And then, who do you get for the other one? Do you draft another one? Do you believe in Reed Blankenship still? Do you think that he's an actual legit option? But yeah, very high on Sidney Brown, have remained high on Sidney Brown. Think that he's got a bright future. Just gotta stay healthy. Had the hamstring injury last season. Limited action. Had the hamstring injury. Granted, the ACL was toward the very, very end of the season, so you didn't really miss out on much playing time there. But didn't get as much playing time as you would prefer just in general for a rookie. And if it's going to cut into his second year, that's the only main concern is, is he able to get on the field and stay on the field? Hopefully. "1984 Ray, Buffalo, New York. Fly Eagles fly. Appreciate you joining. Go Birds." Cool Reigns. I think you've brought this up a couple times, but the Titans are not going to fall for anything else from Howie. We could trade Bradbury to the Titans for a fourth, trade and steal from them again. No, I think I think it's a blocked caller now. I think in Rand Carthen's phone, anytime Howie calls, it just immediately is blocked. Devontae, 100K before the year ends. I'm calling it. I appreciate that. Hopefully. It has been crazy so far, the support. Really appreciate it, but we'll see. That would be wild. That would be nuts. Yeah, Andrew saying, I wonder if he's not allowed to speak to media or an interview until next week at the Combine. Him not being at the Combine kind of sucks on the NFL's part. It totally does. Going back to Stiggers for the comment there, which I gave him the out. I said, hey, I understand if you're not allowed to, or, all the other stuff. So he may not, but it was worth a shot at asking, so we'll see. But yeah, I was like, man, you got to be kidding me. So he's going to do a pro day, his own pro day in Atlanta on March 15th, I think, is when he'll do that. Maybe we can get Thomas to go. He's in Atlanta. Maybe we can get Thomas to go scout that out. Get a little quick interview with Stiggers. I'm pretty sure that it's at the high school that Stiggers was at, or the prep school that he was there. So, but yeah, it would be fun. Yeah, Tracy Ann. I'm really hoping we draft a cornerback in the first round, even though I'm pretty sure it'll be D-line or O-line. I'm kind of thinking the same. Let's see. Oh, shoot. I missed the super chat. Sorry. The Black X. Love you and Mach channels. Appreciate it. Sorry, I was behind on that. It came through and I missed it. My bad. But appreciate the support. Appreciate the love. Yeah, I don't think Michael Pittman's going to be. Saw the comment, but wide receiver 3, there's no way that he does that. I don't even know cost-wise, but that's probably too high or too expensive to begin with, and then also I can't imagine that he's going to take that side. Frankie Ray, they said Sidney Brown won't be ready until the end of October. That's at least 7 to 8 games in. Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, it needs to be addressed. I'm for sure saying, like, you got to either get someone in free agency. I don't know if that's an Eddie Jackson. Familiar with Fangio. You add a depth piece. Wouldn't surprise me there. There's a couple other, it's basically any guy that becomes available all of a sudden is someone that we can consider. But who's the other safety? Forgot who that was. It was from the Lions, right? Why am I drawing a blank on who that was? That was Tracy Walker. Yeah. So there's another safety. Feels like there's a decent amount of safeties out there that you could get as a older vet, save some money. You don't have to pay Kevin Byard type money. You cut him, and then you go the route of kind of a stopgap-ish for Sidney. But yeah, I mean, if he's not going to be ready till October, then it's somewhat of a more long-term decision. Maybe it's earlier, maybe it's sooner before that. But yeah, it's you don't want to rush it, and you got to get things figured out. So if you've got Reed Blankenship in there, you get some more depth. It won't be, doesn't sound like it'll be Antoine Winfield Jr., unfortunately. So for those that were holding out on that, sounds like the Bucs are going to be tagging him if they don't get a deal done. Remo says Tankathon has Kool-Aid McKinstry mocked to the Birds right now. That's actually who I would want them to draft. Seen him on several mocks as well. Yep, there's a couple different options. Again, going back to Tracy's comment, like if we can have any corner, I'd be happy to see a corner taken in the first round because it'd be the first time since Lito Shepherd, but it doesn't feel like that. If I had to bet money on it, I'd say probably not going to be the cornerback position. But I don't hate it. Jorge, what's your expectation? What are your 2024 expectations? I need both offense and defense to be top tier once more. No excuses. Yeah, we're all with you on that. It's got to be top tier. So many changes and so many things have to be different, but it's got to get better. I don't know. 2024 expectations. I think we did this way too early on one of the Friday night hangouts, either a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and just asking like, hey, what predictions do we want to go with for like the record? Overall, I don't know. I think I said then like, what did I say? 11 wins maybe? Feels like about the same, 11 to 12 wins. To me, it's more of because you could look at that and say like, wow, okay, we just had a season where we had 11 wins. But I don't know. To me, it's more of like the optics of how you get there, I guess, or like how you win or lose games. I don't know. I do feel like it probably would be in that 11 to 12 win span. I'll be a little bit surprised. And hey, maybe they can. That'd be great. I'm a little bit surprised if it's more than that. But it needs to be more so, that we're not looking at it going, wow, we are dead last in the NFL on third down percentage for the defense, and can't do anything even if we are registering some pressures because we make it so easy on a quarterback to just march down the field on us, and can't handle the blitz on offense. And we're not running the football enough. We're not being creative. And so I think there's a lot of things that'll come into play with that. But there's going to be a lot of changes, a lot of differences. Although the good news that I like to see, and my wife was also happy to see, I think, was apparently, this is just rumors. We haven't had official report, but it sounds like from Peter King, the Cleveland Stains are going to be the opponent in Brazil. Cleveland Browns, excuse me. So if that's legit, then, the Packers game in Philly is still on, and it won't be played in Brazil. So should be there. Oh, Dax, there you go. Future for Brown from London, Ontario, Canada. I know his work ethic. Winner, never gives up. At the look at the playoffs, when every other player, that's true. Yeah, he definitely still had positivity. So his mindset's different. I love Sydney. I've talked about it a number of times, so most people know this. But I'm a twin, so Sydney's a twin. There's the extra connection there. I think it's kind of cool. So I was already rooting for him, but just anytime you have extra personal interest, it's kind of like, all right, this dude's gonna be good. And I do think that he is. Even like even if I try to be as objective as possible. So outside of the personal preferences there. Let's see. Got the other super chat here. Jay, another one. Appreciate it. Says your prediction on free agents likely to return. Good question here. Let's see. Let me pull up the tracker and we can all go through this, but let's see. All right, here we go. Good question, by the way. Okay. So we'll take a look at let me zoom this in just a little bit more. Take a look at the Eagles' free agent list, players that we have. And let's just go through here and we'll predict of who's going and who's staying. So sadly, we got to start with the first one of Jason Kelce, but I'm going to say, unfortunately, I'm going to say he's probably gone. I really hope that he's not, and maybe there's a chance, but it feels like he's gone. So we'll say Jason Kelce's gone. Fletch, I'm also going to say is gone because it just from the way that Jordan Davis was talking and Fletcher Cox interviews, maybe he does come back. But if he does, I don't even know if Howie would pay what another team might pay him because they saw, hey, Fletch still had a decent year, especially considering his age. And if you want him as a depth signing, there was interest last year. Apparently, he took a little bit less money, not a ton, but a little bit less money to return to Philly last season. So, he might do it again, but I just don't know if you get as close or if Howie says, yeah, you know what, it's time to move on, even if Fletch wants to keep playing. And maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's done. So, sadly, I would say he's gone. I'm going to say BG is back. He wants the Eagles farewell tour. He's going to take a team-friendly deal. Be that veteran presence. Mariota's gone. I don't think you bring him back. You get someone familiar or able to run Kellen Moore's offense or maybe a preference for who Kellen Moore has, but I don't think that Mariota's back. Oh, boy, DeAndre Swift. Gosh, I don't. Remo says Kelce stays though. By the way, he says might be my heart more than brain though. That's what I'm hoping for. But it just logically to me, I feel like he won't. Yeah, I just. As far as DeAndre Swift, I think that he'll be. Oh, I would love for him to come back. I just don't know if Howie's going to do that. Some team's going to be willing to pay him, I think. I think they'll see DeAndre Swift, what he did in this offense and even being underutilized, where you could put him in different spots. Some team's probably going to offer him a contract, and I don't blame him. Like, if he can go get it somewhere else, I would. I'd go do it. So, probably not. Boston might be back. You might be see if he's willing to, re-up for a similar value there. It's a good depth signing, special teams, just having him in the running back room. So, I don't know. That's more of a maybe, but I'll say yes. We'll go with Boston. Zach Cunningham will be back in my mind. I think Howie's talked him up too much. It's almost like he's talking him up to get us ready for the signing so that whenever it happens, it's like, well, we kind of expected that. Because he's been selling him. He's been pushing him really hard. But Justin Evans, I think he's gone. Injury just, can't quite stay healthy. Was pretty good whenever he was on the field, but I think he'll be gone. Shaq Leonard will be gone. Sua Opeta, I don't know. That'll be interesting. Would Sua Opeta come back? Does he get a deal somewhere else? He played a little bit. He's just a depth piece, But they signed, Darian Kennard from the Chiefs. I know that's more of a tackle, I think. But you might have more depth signings. So that one I'm not really sure. I don't know. Could kind of go back and forth with Sua. Rashad Penny will be gone. There's no way he's coming back. Olamide Zaccheaus, we've been talking about quite a bit. I don't think he comes back. Nicholas Morrow, I don't see how you would sign Nicholas Morrow. If we're signing him back, it'll just be, gosh, I don't know. I can't even imagine, but surely not. Alberto, I just don't see the value. We talked about him too. You didn't use him hardly at all in his blocking liability. I just can't imagine that if they weren't willing to give him a few more tries this season, especially, in the middle of things not going correctly, do you try something at a new wrinkle? And they didn't really seem willing to put him in there. Braden Mann has to come back. You found your punter. You figured it out. He's your guy. To me, he has to come back. So I would say yes. Jack Driscoll. I think he could. I feel like as a depth piece there, you might bring him back. Sean Bradley. I don't know. Maybe that one I'm also kind of unsure of. It's just more of that depth signing as well. But Quez is gone, and then Jack Stoll. That'll be interesting. That's also one of those that I'm not 100% sure on. If the Eagles have plans of tight end 2 in the draft or trying to figure out something with Goddard's replacement, then maybe he's gone. But you might just sign him back too to have him as a blocker, and especially in those packages. So I could possibly see it if he returns. But overall, there's a lot of names here that are probably not coming back. What is that? I didn't count, but 4 names maybe that I said there that I think are coming back. We'll see. Let me see. I missed a comment here earlier, and hopefully we kind of answered it. But if not, Ryan, what's up? Says anyone shout the RB? I missed it. Yeah, just TDP, Tyler Davis-Price from San Francisco. Signed him to a futures contract, apparently the biggest and best out of 396 in the NFL, all the total contracts. Again, how great is it? Who knows? We don't know the exact guarantee money. But it's probably a depth signing. Does it have implications for what happens to Swift or Derrick Henry? Probably not, but we'll see where that lands. And he's averaged 2.9 yards a carry in 2022 and 3.5 yards a carry last year. So not great. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Horse says, give Nolan Smith some playing time. I believe he can make a big impact. Hopefully use him like Micah. Yeah, I want him to get more playing time for sure. He's got to get more playing time and develop. But I'm just really struggling on the whole. I'm very high on Nolan. Y'all know that. But just struggling with the shoulder. Is it an issue? Is it not an issue? I've mentioned that a number of times, but his athleticism, he could be used in a bunch of different ways. So I'm excited to see how Fangio uses him. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I'm with Remo here. He says, very curious to hear hear from Fangio and what he thinks of the roster and what he's going to do differently than his disciples that were here. Yeah, that's a good point. What is he going to change? How's it going to be different? And how is it going to be more successful? It's going to be better, but Tracy Ann says Cunningham is fine if he's your worst linebacker, not so much if he's your best. Yes, I agree. And agree with Zach. Says Bradley's hard because it would be a depth and special teams piece. That's it. That's true. Yeah. Yeah, one above all, new Trey Sermon for the TDP. That's what everyone feels like. So Warren asked, do you think we can get anything with Gainwell? I don't think so. I mean, I think just the value is like, and especially where Howie's viewing it is hey, he's gonna be here. You utilize him however you can this next season, and you figure out something after that. But I don't know. There's probably in my mind not as many teams that are taking a look at him and going, oh yeah, we would love to trade big money or something, and get him like that. But yeah. Wow, how changed things or how things changed. The joke sauce. That's true. It's. I like how in the beginning of the season, Bradbury and Slay were considered one of the best CB duos, but now they couldn't do anything. That's the truth. How the mighty have fallen, or how the fall was incredibly quick there. Slay was fine. It's not like he was crazy good, but he was fine. JB was awful, as we know. One above all says Nolan has to bulk up a little bit. Yeah, I think he's got. Honestly, I don't know weight wise if he needs to, and I mean, there's a difference obviously, but I think just the general weight that he has is fine. Like he could stay at his current size, and I'd be all right with that. It's just to me adds some strength, because he's the same size as Hassan Reddick basically. So there's not really weight difference on that, and Hassan can be plenty effective. I just think it's maybe strength, and working through his past injury and being able to go 100% without having effects of that. And that's the part that I'm just not sure of. Yeah, Joke Sauce says after the holding call during the Super Bowl, Howie should have paid CJ instead of JB. Yeah, unfortunately, he feels like he just feels like he might have tried to do that even. And CJ wanted more. Howie was trying to lowball and felt like he knew maybe the market for it. And then when CJ wasn't interested or whatever, then Howie's like, all right, we're about facing. We'll take care of it because we got the money now to keep our corners instead, after what looked like we were going to lose Slay and Bradbury. Hindsight's 2020, obviously, but yeah, that would have been probably better. Drew says, what do we do with Bradbury? Do we try to trade for like a Pat Surtain? Yeah, be awesome, be phenomenal if you could trade that straight up, or even somehow, figure out a way to get Surtain. But I don't think there's much you can do with Bradbury. I mean, you could cut him, and I think it's like $4 million that it costs you if it's post June 1. So it's not a crazy amount, but you're just cutting him to lose $4 million, or have it costed against the cap. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's just kind of taking up a spot too. Like, I don't think you can confidently say, "Oh, great, hey, JB's going to be the answer, and he's going to go up there and be your starter." Like, is the defensive coordinator, or is it Fangio coming in as the defensive coordinator and saying, "Yeah, I love this. I got a lot of potential that I see from Bradbury." I can't imagine that he is. So maybe he gets cut. Allow for an opportunity for a Keely Ringo or an Eli Ricks, or someone else that you get to play. But at the same time, you got to pay $4-ish million to do that. So I don't know. Elisa, what's up? Says, sorry if you talked about it. I'm late to the party today. That's all right. This running back from the 49ers, what do we know about? What do we know? I'm worried for our boy Swift. Yeah, we just kind of mentioned it. He came from the Niners, was there previously, drafted in 2022, third round pick, and he's not great. I mean, based on the numbers, not gonna lie, he's a power back, 6'1", 220. He would, at least in the sense of being a power back, provide some, you know, I guess 1-2 punch as far as a shiftier back, and then some physicality. And he's not afraid to have some, a little bit more physical runs. But at the same time, too, his yards per carry was 2.9 in 2022 and 3.5, I think, last year, like we were mentioning. So overall, I think it's just a depth signing. I don't think it's a major acquisition. He did apparently get the biggest, it was worded weird, but the biggest or best contract for all out of all futures contracts. But still, take that with a grain of salt, because it doesn't mean too much depending on where the guaranteed money is. So it's probably similar to, we've had a number of comments on here, but basically like a Trey Sermon 2.0. Like, will he make the roster? Maybe. Could he be an option in limited usage? Maybe. You probably have hopes that he can do that. It's probably, in Howie's mind, a low risk, high reward. You take a player who you like in terms of his physicality and athleticism. Maybe you can blend him with the O-line and Stoutland's run game coordination. But overall, like, I don't think it's drastically different for the possibility for how he's going to do with Swift. Like, I don't think that this signing suggests that Swift is, he's for sure gone, he's not going to be brought back or anything like that. I think Howie probably already has his mind made up. So, maybe this is a depth acquisition to prepare for that. But I don't think that we can read the tea leaves here and say, oh gosh, this is, significant for Swift's future and what Howie's going to do. So I am worried, though. I'm with you. I'm worried about Swift. I do hope that they sign him back and figure out a way. I'm not as much of thinking Derrick Henry is an option, even though Vegas says there's second best odds. And same for Saquon Barkley, apparently, is second best odds for the Eagles. But we'll see. Although Remo says, I doubt we re-sign Swift as much as I like him. If anything, bringing him here may have reinforced Howie's philosophy on running backs, since he got Swift for so cheap. Probably thinks he can do it again. Unfortunately, I'm with you. As much as I don't like that, yeah. I think he's just ingrained in that line of thinking. And true, no one saw Swift coming. No one saw a trade happening on that day. Are we going to get a starter for 16 games to trade a draft pick, that was a very, very minimal swap, basically, to get someone cheap like that? Incredible trade. Really, really good trade. So, unfortunately, yeah, he might very well think, oh, we'll just do it again. Hate to see Swift go, but whether it's on draft night or whether it's something in free agency that he works out, or even much later down the road and he gets a trade, if I had to bet on it, that's probably what I'm going with too. Drew says, so where does Isaiah Rodgers fit in when he comes back next season? I think he's right there. I mean, he's got a lot of potential. It's just, like Joke Sauce says, a little bit rusty, maybe. Who knows? But he can't be worse. So you have to like that. He can't be worse than Bradbury. So maybe he's your guy. Maybe he ends up being your starter. There's potential there, but I also don't think that means you don't draft a corner, or that Howie's for sure not doing that. So we'll see. All right. Let's see. I think I'm going to wrap it up. I may take a couple more. We'll do a couple more questions here, but I've been going for a couple hours here and need to help the wife with the kiddos and bedtime. So we'll go a few more minutes here, and then I'm going to wrap this one. Fallen Hood Samurai, what we going to do for the middle linebacker? And, well, Zach kind of answered it really well in the sense of Nakobe Dean is the man in the middle. I don't know that there's a whole lot, sadly. I would love to maybe you draft a guy. I talked about Edgerrin Cooper. I know Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is an option. If you draft, a linebacker a little higher in value, but perhaps Howie goes free agent route and shocks everybody, but that would be really, really surprising, especially how he kind of defended himself in the last press conference before ending the season, or I guess with the offseason starting or whatever we call that press conference. But it feels pretty unlikely that you're going to have anything else outside of Nakobe Dean as the main guy, at least from what Howie's been saying. So give him another option. I know he had injuries, so there's another question that goes out there, but they love Nakobe, and I hope Nakobe works out. I would love it. I just don't know. Alex says, do you think we can still keep Swift and fill holes in the defense? I do. Yeah. I think it might be a little bit difficult, but again, I don't know what you're necessarily, an exact, but if let's just throw something out there. If it's $7 million per year that Swift is offered, 6.5, $7 million. Now, again, it's a very different answer of do I think that we can versus do I think we will. That's the hard part because Howie wasn't willing to, re-sign Miles Sanders. So I think that a team will be willing to pay Swift. Unfortunately, probably too much that, he doesn't stay. I would like for us to figure out a way, and hopefully we can. But just in general, if he were to get $7 million, and instead you're like, oh, we can go get someone else for 2 or for 3, and Howie figures out a way to do that. Well, okay, then you saved what, 5-ish million, somewhere around there. So that's not nothing by all means. That's a decent amount, but still, there's ways to free up cap space with extensions and with restructuring contracts, and also cutting some guys like we mentioned. So, $5 million, there is a difference there, but the cap's going to be a little bit higher too. So I wouldn't say that it's, oh my gosh, there's no way to have any answers without Swift or I guess with signing Swift whenever you take up some of that cash flow. But again, difference of can we do that versus is that the best option and will Howie go with that? Probably not. Let's see. Xavier says, what do you think will be this year? Run first a team again, or no idea what our identity will be this year? Oh, it'll be pass first for sure. I mean, with Kellen Moore and the offensive weapons that we have, and also Sirianni's tendency to throw the ball and everything, it'll be pass first. I don't know what percentage. I mean, if I had to just throw it out there, I'm going to guess it's going to be, I don't know, 60. I'll get really specific and it's going to be random, but at 63% of the time, pass, something like that. There will probably, maybe I'm wrong, but there will probably be games where I feel like we might be like, oh my gosh, we're really not running the football. There'll probably be instances. So I'm kind of preparing myself for that. But the benefit, I think, is going to be that it'll at least be more effective passing and it'll be more creative scheming. So it won't be as frustrating to say, well, we're in the gun and we're blitzed and we have no answers. And time again, we just see the same thing. So at least there's a positive there. But yeah, it'll be pass first and better prepare for it now before there's even more frustration. If we get to that point of why are we not running the football? Dax, appreciate it. Love the content. Keep up the great work. Really appreciate that. All right. I'm gonna end it here. I gotta go and help the wife anyway. So appreciate everybody hanging out. Tuesday night, reminder again, just real quick, but Friday night hangout, we will definitely have probably I'm thinking it'll be most likely 9 o'clock Eastern. So if you want to swing by Friday night, we'll go for a couple hours recapping the week's news and the latest news, everything else. But also member stream. Everybody who's a member, Hungry Dogs and higher, so Hungry Dogs and Breed of One, the member stream, the Zoom call will be also Friday, and that'll be right before. So probably a 7:30 Eastern time, where we'll go for an hour. So just kind of an Eagles chat, but more in the video conference 1-to-1. So, or I shouldn't say 1-to-1. There's 20 people or maybe more. Who knows? Maybe more by this point. But that'll also be Friday. So anyone who's wanting to, it's not too late. You can sign up. You can get a membership for Hungry Dogs or Breed of One. But if not, we'll still have the Hangout Friday. So we'll see you guys then, and more videos for sure throughout the week as well. So until then, we'll see you guys next time. Go Birds.